Cardi B didn't become one of the biggest names in music by accident. She went from being known for her outspoken personality and social media presence to becoming a Grammy-winning superstar, a chart-topping rapper, and one of the most recognizable personalities in entertainment. But here's the part people rarely talk about. The higher Cardi B climbed, the more complicated fame became. Because fame doesn't just give you money, followers, and opportunities. Sometimes it takes things away too. And when you look closely at Cardi B's journey, there's a darker side that goes far beyond the glamorous photos and red carpets. So stay until the end, because the final part may explain why Cardi has always been so determined to control her own story. Let's go back to the beginning. Before the designer clothes, massive performances, and international fame, Cardi B built her audience by being brutally open about her life. That honesty became one of her biggest advantages. While many celebrities carefully control every interview and every public appearance, Cardi developed a reputation for saying exactly what was on her mind. Fans loved it. But there was a problem. The same honesty that made people love Cardi also made her incredibly easy to criticize. Every opinion could become a headline, every argument could become a trending topic, and every controversial moment could follow her for years. That's the first dark reality of fame. Once millions of people are watching, you don't always control what your own story becomes. And Cardi has experienced that pressure repeatedly. At different points in her career, online debates surrounding her music, relationships, public statements, and personal decisions have become bigger than the original story. Suddenly, people weren't just discussing a song, they were discussing Cardi B herself. And that's where things get even more complicated. Because celebrity culture has a strange rule. People say they want authenticity until the celebrity actually becomes authentic. Then suddenly, every word is analyzed. Every facial expression becomes evidence. Every social media post becomes a theory. And the internet can turn a normal moment into a controversy within hours. But here's where Cardi's story takes another turn. She didn't simply survive the attention. She learned how to use it. Instead of trying to become the quiet, perfectly polished celebrity that everyone expected, Cardi leaned into the personality that made her famous. That became part of her brand. The humor, the confidence, the unpredictability, the willingness to respond, and, most importantly, the refusal to completely disappear when criticism arrived. That strategy can be incredibly powerful, but it can also be exhausting. Because when your personality is part of your brand, people can start feeling entitled to every part of your life. Your relationships, your family, your appearance, your career decisions, even your private emotions. And that's where the price of fame becomes much more personal. Imagine waking up and knowing that millions of strangers have an opinion about what you should do with your life. Now imagine that some of those people feel personally connected to you because they've followed your journey for years. That's the strange contradiction of being Cardi B. Her openness helped build the connection, but that same connection can create enormous pressure. And there's another uncomfortable truth. Success doesn't make criticism disappear. It can actually make it louder. When you're unknown, people can criticize you and move on. When you're a global celebrity, criticism can become a business. Commentary channels discuss it, social media accounts repost it, fans debate it, news outlets cover it, and suddenly one moment can generate days of conversation. That's why Cardi's career isn't simply a story about fame. It's a story about attention. And attention can be both the greatest asset and the greatest burden a celebrity has. But there's one more layer to this story. Cardi B has never been completely predictable, and that's exactly why people keep watching. You may disagree with her, you may criticize her, you may defend her, but you probably know what Cardi B is going to do next. You don't. And in entertainment, unpredictability is incredibly valuable. It's one reason her name continues to generate conversation long after a particular song, interview, or controversy has disappeared from the headlines. But here's the question. Has Cardi B actually controlled the attention, or has the attention sometimes controlled her? That's impossible for outsiders to know. Only Cardi knows the full emotional cost of living under that microscope. What we can see is that maintaining enormous public visibility comes with constant pressure. And perhaps that's the real dark truth behind her fame. It isn't necessarily one secret scandal. It isn't one hidden conspiracy. It's the reality that becoming famous means becoming public property in the eyes of millions of people, even though you're still a private human being. Cardi B built her career by being unapologetically herself. But the bigger she became, the more difficult it became to simply be herself without millions of people analyzing every move. And that's the price almost nobody talks about. The world sees the money, the luxury, the awards, the sold-out performances, the headlines, the celebrity lifestyle. But behind all of that is something much less glamorous. Pressure to stay relevant. Pressure to respond. Pressure to succeed again. Pressure to protect your image. And pressure to somehow remain authentic while an entire industry is watching. So maybe the real dark truth behind Cardi B's fame isn't that she has some mysterious secret hiding behind the spotlight. Maybe it's that the spotlight itself can become a prison. Because once millions of people become invested in your life, disappearing isn't always easy. And that's what makes Cardi B's journey so fascinating. She didn't just become famous. She became a celebrity whose personality became part of the entertainment. And now every new chapter creates another question. What will Cardi B do next? Because if her career has taught us anything, it's this. Just when you think you understand Cardi B, she can change the conversation again. And that may be the biggest reason the world keeps watching.